Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
My dear, dear friend John Bond said that his Uncle Bob was a staunch conservative and voted straight Republican until the day he died in Chicago. Since that time, he has voted Democrat. Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning on a Thursday. And a good morning, everybody. Zeb at the ranch. And it is Thursday, August 10th. Good morning, Zeb Bell. And, of course, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and service the key word. Along with some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route, service 734-6969. Right now, Patriots, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, nobody called in, so you get me.
Oh, well, good deal.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I thank you. Gina, if you could throw the feed line up just a touch to me. I don't know why it changed or altered, but just a little bit louder, if you would. Hey, that lovely lady, Gina Jameson, helping to fill in this week. 4 Wheels, and we've got good news. He might be coming back this next Monday, so God bless you, young man. And hope all the healing is complete and you feel a lot better. Thank you. Right now it's time for the weather, brought to you by K&R Rental. And that are located, as I almost bit my tongue when I swallowed my cough drop, 256 South 600 west of Hayburn. Number to call, 678-3122. Roger and the crew there early in the morning. Monday through Friday, 7 till 5:30, Saturday 7 to 6. And they've got everything over there. I mean, all the equipment for what you're using at your job site. They've got everything from forklifts to lawnmowers. And they're a Honda engine dealer. All the parts that you might need for your wheel lines at K&R Rental. Right now, here is Live or Memorex. Gina with the weather.
We are still in that air quality alert for today. That's going to last through tomorrow as well. Still smoky, and so if you have some upper respiratory issues, please make note of that. Other than that, we are looking at mostly sunny skies for today. Going to be on the windy side as well. Winds out of the northeast up to 17 miles an hour. Gust possible 25 plus. High of 87 for today. Tonight, low 57. Tomorrow, still going to be cloudy on the breezy side. High of 89 with an overnight low of 57. And then for Saturday and Sunday, looks like mostly sunny skies. Hopefully the smoke's going to clear on out of here. Highs are going to be in the low 90s. Right now we're sitting at 58.
Sounds good to me, and that's why I'm sucking on a cough drop this morning. It's because all that smoke out there got my old throat just a little raspy. Hey, thank you, K&R Rental, 256 South 600 west of Hayburn. Number to call, 678-3122. Yes, sirree, they've got everything you need over there, from forklifts to lawnmowers at K&R Rental. Right now, Merv May, come on in here.
All right, hey, good set of steer calves. They're here to get all their 31 woman and 31 going.
Oh, Oh, that's the chant of the world's best auctioneer, Merv May, at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Sale today at 11 a.m. at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call for cattle consignments and sale information, 678-9411. Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy. It is the sale that works for you. Talked to Merv yesterday, and he said that Ward Dairy's bringing in 100 head of Holstein steers weighing 8 to 1,000 pounds, and Joe Gonzalez over to Hayburn bringing in 25 head of Holstein steers, 850 to 1,000 pounds. And, of course, we've got, let's take a look over here. We've got Dale Price out of Malad bringing in some butcher cows, along with dairy butcher cows coming in from Acme Dairy, TLK Dairy, and Oak Valley Dairy. As I said, sale time 11 o'clock, trailer line run, more cattle going through. It's going to be a good sale. 11 o'clock this morning at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, hey, good set of steer calves there. Here to get all of 31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, and 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, and 5.5, 5.5, 130, 550, 135, and a selling $1.35. Zeb Bell gets bottom again.
I appreciate that, Merv. Thank you so much. I'm going to do a couple of commercials here, and I've got to tell you, pardon me, that this morning in the Times News, I found the most offensive and low-classed cartoon that I have seen in the newspaper, the Times News, for a long time. Now, it was drawn up by Mike Lukovic, and he is out of Chicago. And this guy absolutely is a liberal left as far as the branch will hold him. And I'm going to talk about this cartoon in just a moment because I think it is absolutely disgusting, and I think it's a commercial that denigrates our presidency and our government. I'll talk about that in just a minute. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. They throw open the doors at 7:30 in the morning and stay open till 5 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. They've got all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and including all your air conditioning filters to keep you cool. You heard the forecast going to start climbing back up a little bit. Stay cool. And your electric needs are right there at Ramsey Heating and Electric. 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Also, want to remind you that we have decided on, I got to check my list here, August the 24th. For the next lunch bunch, and that's going to be at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, America's Diner. And they also have another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Now, they've got a list of brand new burgers, and I keep telling everybody about this, and I had a call the other day. I had mentioned I had the Bacon Gouda burger, and it is fantastic. Well, somebody called me and said, you were 100% right. What a great burger, and all the new burgers at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, and the menu choices are fantastic. The people really give you great service at Denny's Restaurant. You stop in and see Denny's Restaurant today. I really am upset that the Times News has been really shifting to a leftist newspaper. I don't care what anybody says. And this morning, I saw a cartoon that was extremely offensive to me, regardless of whether Trump is the president of the United States or not. And I wonder what your feelings are. If you have a chance, look on the op-ed page for this cartoon that was drawn by Mike Lukovic and did not have to be carried by the Times News. And the comparison of Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un in this cartoon, calling them mad men. The comparison of Donald Trump to Kim Jong-un in the same vein is absolutely disgusting to me. What Donald Trump has done is absolutely nothing less or nothing more than many presidents in the past have used as verbiage about how America will not be tread upon. And I urge the Times News maybe to study a little history of the United States and go back to the Cuban Missile Crisis with John F. Kennedy. And there was a line in the sand against the Russians and Nikita Khrushchev that, no, you will not put missiles in Cuba. And we all, at one stage of that crisis, thought that there would be a nuclear holocaust. God bless the situation. It was avoided. But John F. Kennedy stood firm and stood tough. And that's exactly what Donald Trump has done in this situation with North Korea. North Korea now threatening Guam. Guam! These people have done nothing to anybody. They're in American territory, and evidently little Kim Jong-un, the fat Pillsbury doughboy, wants to make a threat to Guam that he's going to throw missiles in the air, and maybe they'll hit, maybe they won't, but he's going to put the fear of the Lord, he didn't use the Lord because he doesn't believe in the Lord, into the United States. But the comparison in this cartoon of calling Donald Trump a madman in conjunction with Kim Jong-un, I find to be the most repulsive and offensive cartoon that I've seen in a long time. It is nice to have a president that's going to stand up for our allies and us, instead of the weak-kneed Barack Obama that absolutely will go down in history as one of the worst presidents ever. Oh, he drew a red line in Syria and backed up and backed up and backed up. In this day and age, there can't be any more backing up. You look at that cartoon. I'm not playing partisan politics here. I damn the Republicans as much as I damn the Democrats when needed. But this cartoon offended me. Because every single thing that Donald Trump's administration has tried to do, whether you like the man or not, the Democrats have stood in the way, knuckle-dragging. Your thoughts, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget this Saturday night, Cassia County Fair and Rodeo kicks off with their great big concert at 8 p.m. on Saturday. Aaron Watson and Ned Ledoux. Wow. I mean, 2 home run hitters right there. You are going to love that concert. So get your tickets right now. Call the fair office and take care of it. And that's Saturday night. And then all next week, are they going to have a good time at the Cassia County Fair? Wednesday next week, don't forget 10:30 a.m., the big parade. And, of course, the rodeo Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, PRCA rodeo, parimutuel horse racing, and so much more at your Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. Don't you miss it. Calls are welcome. Come on, folks. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Also want to remind everybody, too, about some of the great merchants that are inviting you to the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. And they include Dot Foods at 1541 West 27th Street in Burley. They are America's leading food redistributor. We're offering 70,000 products from 700 food industry manufacturers and shipping all over the states. I'm telling you, we're proud of Dot Foods in Burley, urging you to go to the Cassia County Fair, along with Golden Valley Warehouse, 468 West, 1000 South of Burley, and they and the staff would like to thank all their customers for 30 years of support. Golden Valley Warehouse, locally owned and operated and serving you, telling you to go to the Cassia County Fair. And Kelly's Bearing Supply, 1407 East Main Street in Burley. You'll know where you're at when you get your bearings at Kelly's. Good folks, Zach and Brett and the whole crew, the bearing specialists at Kelly's Bearing Supply in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. It is refreshing to have a president that tells it like it is. Like this Mitch McConnell, those statements he made against the president, saying, more or less that he didn't know what he was doing, he didn't know how to make sausage,
yeah,
so to speak, and went on like that. And then John McCain's ugly comments, and he lashed back at him. Now, they're trying to say that he doesn't know what he's doing, but he's doing what the people want him to do and what he promised us to do. And what more can you ask for?
Well, that's the whole point. I'm sick and tired of America being a doormat. I'm sick and tired of America being treated second, third, 10th, 20th, whatever. We have been the world's leader, and we're starting to act like it again. But to compare in a cartoon and carry it in our local rag of the Times News, to compare Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un in the same vein as Mad Men, I find that disgusting. I find it unpatriotic. I find it un-American, and I condemn the Times News for carrying the cartoon.
Yeah, what's wrong with telling it the way it really is? The truth. And, if America backs down from this, we're done.
Well, Keith, wait a minute. What your words are right there are extremely prophetic. If we back down from this, we're done. That's exactly what you just said. And where do you back America? Where do you back our United States into a corner to where eventually they might try to fight back and get back out? They can't. And right now, I don't care if it's North Korea. I don't care if it's Afghanistan. I don't care who it is. We have to show that we need and earn the respect of our allies.
Well, when we do things like Clinton does, with North Korea, give them food and all that kind of stuff. If you won't do this anymore, and then didn't follow up with it, say what we mean and mean what we say.
Amen. Now, I know, and you know, after having served in the Navy and served our country, that when you start standing up and saying we will not allow any more of this activity, and you're drawing a line. Obama did it, but he backed up, capitulated, and made everybody laugh at him. I honestly think that the status of the world today, right now, we cannot back up and draw lines repeatedly in the sand. You've got to stay with your toe on the line and knock the bad guy in the nose.
Yeah, and then this one comment where they had Bill Clinton and George Bush together saying, we should do this and we should do that. I think they need to keep their nose out of the business of politics because they've served our country, whether it's a good job or not, and shut up and go home and leave it at that.
All right, Keith, I appreciate your comments as always. Thank you very much for your call this morning. Thank you. Yeah, I saw that cartoon this morning, and boy, I don't know why. It just hit me wrong, and my German temper just went boop right to the top, 100%. I find this cartoon offensive. I am sick and tired of the denigration of this country by the Democrats as spoiled losers. Let me say that again. It felt good. Spoiled losers. But to make comparisons over all the absolutely threatening comments and everything from Kim Jong-un, oh, we're going to bomb this, oh, we're going to bomb Alaska, oh, we're going to send nuclear weapons to San Francisco. Now they're picking on Guam, and the president said if they keep this up and they make any open move to send any missile anywhere, they will be met with fire and fury. And I'm, of course, paraphrasing, but that's the gist of the honest remarks. There have been many other remarks, far more poignant, even by Senator John McCain, but he's so two-faced, he won't admit it. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget, we want to say thank you to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call, 678-1191. Nick Greenwell and his staff, he has got the best physical therapist to work on you and help you, whether you're recovering from an accident, surgery, a sprain, a strain, whatever. They can help. They will help. They know all the exercises, and they have the only hydrotherapy pool in the area. Oh, that is something. It really helps. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Call them today at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. They can help you get back to being you. 678-1191. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Got a couple of thoughts, three of them actually, and then none of them have anything to do with each other. One, the thing with comparing Donald Trump with that little fat dictator is when 99.999% of the United States are skeletons starving to death, then we can say that our president is equal to him. I'm it. Whatever.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Okay, the second one is, you were talking about the smoke. Okay, in between Pendleton, Oregon, and LeGrand, Oregon, on the north side, there's a bunch of forest. And I'm driving past there one day, and I'm looking, and man, look at all that thick underbrush, and oh my gosh, and that's terrible. And then there was a fence line, and there was cows in there, and I was like, wow. So then my thought was, I wonder what the firefighters would rather fight the fire in, the cow pasture, or the tree hugger area, because the cows, and you think about it, years ago, there was millions of buffalo kept the grass and the brush and the crap down under the tree.
Amen.
So my third thought has to do with all this transgender stuff that these parents, their 4-year-old says, I feel like I'm a something. Okay, if your kid says, I see the bird out there eating worm. I think I want to eat a worm. Do they run out and get the shovel and dig up a worm? Or if the little kid says, when I grow up, I'm going to marry my mommy or my daddy, do they get a divorce so their child can marry them?
The transgender issue is one that, of all the times I brought it up on my program, I got to be honest with you. I'm a little wondering as to why people aren't jumping in the conversation. It's a very serious problem in this country that is caused by a minuscule number of people that are demanding that they get involved in more things, and they're demanding a better press relationship to further their, I think, filthy cause. I am going to continue to denigrate it. I'm going to continue to downplay it, and I'm not going to change. They can call me a hate monger and a bigot, as they have. But I'll tell you what, if we don't get back to some of the basics of what our grandparents and my parents were grown up into and how they portrayed morality and self-respect, our country is going to go down the toilet.
Exactly. I have a younger sister. When she was 5 years old, she said, when I grow up, I'm going to be a boy.
Yeah.
And we didn't dress her in boy clothes. Well, yeah, we all run around in T-shirts and jeans. But she's now a very feminine woman and loves being a woman. My younger brother thought he was a girl because he had 2 older sisters, and when we got done playing dolls with him, he had 2 younger sisters that insisted he plays dolls, and he's 100% male.
Absolutely.
So these parents, it drives me insane that the kid says, oh, I want to be a girl, I want to be a boy. Well, let's slap them in and...
Well, it's not only
whatever, you know.
It's not only the kids that are distorted in their viewpoint, thanks sometimes to parents that aren't doing their job, but I revert back to the story about the University of Arizona professor that actually stood up in his class and said, I think I'll be whatever I want to be, and today I want to be a giraffe. I thought, right there, you're paying a tuition of about $60,000 a year to go to a school where a professor's going to stand up and say, I think I'm going to be a giraffe. You better transfer to a junior college.
Yeah, only if he's pointing out how stupid this other point of view is. That I agree with. But if he's thinking, you know, I mean, because like I said, if your kid says, I want to eat a worm because he sees a bird eat it, are you going to run out and dig up the worm?
Always a pleasure to have you call. You have great ideas and thoughts. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All righty, take care. Nice lady right there. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle. Don't forget our friends at Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center. They're located at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. Number to call, find out more, 436-3200. And they are the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Mini-Cassia area, and they make every effort to make Autumn Haven the best place. They want you to come by. They want you to visit. They want you to take a tour for your loved ones' availability to live there and be served there. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. All right, give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Another story I wanted to hit this morning, it just drives me nuts, is that, do you remember Bill Nye, the science guy? And he did a little stint on Dancing with the Stars and everything, kind of a wild, frizzy-haired guy. Well, he came out the other night and really put his big foot in his mouth, I think. He came out and said, and I'm going to be paraphrasing a lot of this and not direct quotes to the verbiage, but I think you'll get the drift. He said that many of our generation, us, we need to die soon so that climate change movement can prevail. And then he had a couple of his underlings on TV, and they were saying, well, yeah, you know what, this generation right here, they're a bunch of naysayers, and they're just kind of old and set in their ways, and they're not real smart and everything. I guess it's referring to me and my generation, and perhaps the generation just under me. Well, they're not real smart, and they need to die. And when they die, then we can make progress on climate change. When I heard that, I was so despicably upset at the idiocy of climate change in the first place. God holds his hand on the thermostat. And even locally, we've had a lot of people say, oh, yeah, this generation, when they pass, finally we can get something done. The future will prove, and mark my words on this, write it down, date it, put it by the hour that I said it. The future will prove that climate change zealots were wrong, and they will beg in the future for changes back to where it was instead of what they wanted. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, when I heard that, I thought, well, Mr. Nye, you're not a spring chicken, so why don't you lead by example?
Well, I would prefer with comments like that, he almost imitate a dead duck.
That just shows how uneducated some of those liberals are.
Doug, and last night there was another guy that he whistled through his teeth when he was talking, and he just kind of upset me over that. But I was listening to him, and his verbiage was such that, well, all the scientists in the world agree, and no, that is a lie. The percentage of scientists that they're talking about were a handful of selected scientists, and certainly not all scientists, because I'm getting stories every day sent to me by very reputable newsrooms that are showing falsification of temperature records, falsification about climate changes in various parts of the world, falsification about ice flows that are melting, and that tells me that it's nothing more than a concentrated effort for complete control of the world's populace.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's trying to globalize the world and be under one government, one rule. And that's why the Paris climate deal was a good thing to get out of.
Yes.
Because have you noticed, if you've looked at that at all, have you noticed how many other countries put money into that?
Yep.
You can count them on one hand, and I think you only need one finger to count how many countries were putting money into it.
You see, the aim is, I don't care if people agree with me or not. I do not lose sleep at night for people that don't agree with me. But the aim of the Paris Climate Accord, if you can read between the lines and study the issues, was nothing more than to lower the United States to a third world status and cripple them economically. Look at it, read it, you'll understand it.
That's a fact. And how are you going to have a one-world government when you've got one nation like the United States that is military dominant, financially independent, we got energy independent? How are you going to bring them into the world, into a third world, and have them be an equal? You've got to bring them down.
And that's exactly what, if there's people out there in the audience that go, well, I don't think that they'd ever try to bring down the United States. Listen, it's been a fabricated program for a long time that if they can bring us down to third world status economically, change it through trade rules and regulations or whatever, NAFTA or that Pacific Rim trade deal they were trying to put through, and now the environment. Look at the countries like China and India that are sitting back laughing at these situations because they know it's a ploy to put us in a lower status.
Exactly. been their plan. That's been the left's plan ever since the early 50s or before.
Well,
to take us over, make us a communist country, but do it from within without firing a shot.
Boy, doesn't it make you feel warm and fuzzy, Dougie, to think that they want to turn us into a socialized nation like Venezuela? Oh, what a poster child of success.
Exactly. And once they get us down to that status, then they've got control of us. And you control a country by controlling its medical, its seniors, and its youth.
You know, Doug, I'm so glad you called on this morning. I appreciate it. But more people need to realize the absolute criminal acts that are being performed against the United States citizens and what's going on with our government, etc. And when you have some dipstick like so-called science guy Bill Nye say, well, we need to have the older generation die so we can go ahead and have climate change be advocated. You know what? I'm so incensed about that. I'd like to get Bill Nye on this program. I really would, because I would absolutely tear him apart.
Yeah. Yeah, he is just an entertainer. He is not a scientist at all. And when he was Bill Nye the Science Guy, they wrote his script for him. He didn't know that. They wrote it for him.
They should have written his dance steps on Dancing with the Stars.
Well, he showed his true colors there on how talented he is.
Yeah. Okay, Dougie, thank you.
Hey, remember, everybody, let's take care of our senior center.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Jerome County Fair, my goodness sakes, they've still got tonight, and it's going to be the last night tonight of the PRCA rodeo at the Jerome County Fair. And tonight is Tough Enough to Wear Pink night. And boy, that Tough Enough to Wear Pink night at rodeos all across the country has really benefited research money and a lot of other things to help solve the problems of breast cancer awareness. And we certainly stand up for that. Hey, they've got a lot of great cowboys coming in for tonight's performance at the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo. And tomorrow night, on Friday night, they're going to have at 7:30 p.m. the bloodless bullfights. Oh, exciting. Look out. And then on Saturday night, that great big tractor pull. You better get over there to the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo in Jerome. It's going on right now. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm going to talk about Spike Lee in just a moment and Colin Kaepernick. I am absolutely repulsed by both of them. Don't forget Berry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts, South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. They have all the equipment to get the job done right. I mean, they've got all the equipment rentals, and they've got all the retail equipment sales. What a place to go and find just what you need. And they've got all the Bobcat excavators, new and used excavators. Try that again without biting your tongues ever. New and used excavators. There you go, for sale or rent, all shapes and sizes. And if you don't know how to run the equipment, hey, don't worry. They'll take you out behind the shop in the great big sandbox and turn you loose and teach you. Berry Equipment and Rental, Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Really, really good folks. I am a little bit more than upset about private business being forced and coerced to change their methods and the way that they do business. That falls underneath the category of the National Football League. Private business owned by private business owners, i.e. Jerry Jones for the Dallas Cowboys, or, up in the case of the Green Bay Packers, multiple, many private owners that bought stock in the Green Bay Packers. The Hallis family, of course, for years with the Chicago Bears. But now there is a little problem because of Colin Kaepernick. Nobody wanted him in the NFL after he refused to stand for our national anthem. And in 2016, he slipped on the ratings chart down to the 23rd ranked quarterback in the NFL. So evidently, old Colin, slipping in expertise and ability, and most of the team said, nope, don't want him. Well, here comes Spike Lee. Spike Lee, the black troublemaker, and that's what he is leading a charge for a big rally. And they're trying to get thousands and thousands of people to this rally to force and coerce some team in the NFL to hire Colin Kaepernick. And I find this despicable. Colin Kaepernick created his own problem. Colin Kaepernick was and is a reverse racist. Colin Kaepernick sat down, took a knee, whatever, during the national anthem, which I found absolutely despicable. And among other things that people don't remember is that when he was playing for the 49ers, he went to practice sporting practice socks that showed cops as pigs. I have no respect for Colin Kaepernick. None whatsoever. And the only job I would give him with an NFL team is selling hot dogs. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, you hit it right nail on the head there. Well, you know, it's sad that ESPN is tied in with ABC, which, of course, is becoming more left-wing all the time, more socialist, you know, to push this agenda, this anti-American agenda. I don't know about you, Zeb. I'm sure you feel the same way. You've been, they play the national anthem at every rodeo. I can imagine that you was a broadcaster. And I don't know about you, when I grew up and we played the national anthem, whatever the sporting event was. And I'll tell you, it makes me proud to be an American. Very grateful for the liberty and freedom that we have.
Well, let me, Adrian,
out there and disgrace that.
Yeah.
And I think it's appropriate. Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, got quite a cheer, and I didn't see it or hear it at the football game a week or so ago. And it shows you the fans, regardless of your political leanings or understanding, when you go to the football game, you put all of that aside and you root for your team and hope it wins. But for him to come out and politicize this, and then for Spike Lee or any of these, ESPN is becoming very politically correct in all of its things.
Yeah, Adrian, let me interrupt you for a second. You brought something up I want to expand on a little bit, and I've said this on the program before. You mentioned about the national anthem and my announcing events all over the United States, Canada, and overseas. And I have heard the national anthem probably more than most. But I want to share, again, the story about when I was asked to speak at the Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia in 1996. When I went down there to the Olympics, of course, you hear the national anthem at every venue. But I had a night off, and I went to the gymnastics finals inside the Atlanta Dome. And one of our girls from the United States of America won the gold medal. And I was up in the stands that night just purely as an observer, having the night off. And when they started the national anthem, and that girl looked up from the podium at the flag with the spotlight on our flag, I cried. I have never been more proud of our country, and I've heard the anthem more than most. I never tire of that anthem.
Oh, me neither, Zeb. And like I say, I knew where your position as a rodeo announcer. You obviously had more opportunities, but I can remember all kinds of sporting events, many of them that I participated in, and to take the time to pay tribute to the greatest nation, the greatest flag that's ever flown on the face of the earth.
Absolutely.
It's a privilege, and it's a duty that we have to preserve the liberties and freedoms that we have that are just slipping away. And so many people are saying, oh, let somebody else get involved in the political thing. I appreciate your program and all of your listeners out there that are taking the opportunity to contact their elected officials at whatever level it is, and to preserve the greatness of this country, and to take a stand against the Spike Lees and let them go their way. But, it's a great country, but let's not let it get destroyed because of these kind of reprobates.
I agree. I got to do a weather. Adrian, thank you for your call. It meant a lot. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
For your program. Bye now.
And there's going to be those out in the audience. I know they're everywhere in little pockets laying underneath their rocks that probably didn't like what I just said. I don't care. I mean, I'm very proud of this country. I'm very proud that I get to broadcast on a radio program in America. I'm very proud of the red, white, and blue. And yes, I did cry that night when I saw the majestic beauty of that flag being unfurled from the ceiling. And watching that gold medalist from the United States with tears running down her face with pride for America. Caller, I appreciate your call. I'm going to ask you to wait 60 seconds. I'll be right with you. I got to get a weather forecast on. Brought to everybody by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. The number to call for an appointment for hearing screening, 312-0957. I'll repeat, 312-0957. Right across from Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room. And I urge you to call because she is Dr. Christine Pickup, the owner of the only locally owned and independent hearing healthcare practice in southern Idaho, and she knows hearing and hearing health. Right now, here's the weather.
Well, we are still in that air quality alert due to all the smoke in the area. So if you have some upper respiratory issues, please make note of that. Other than that, we're looking at mostly sunny skies, a little bit on the breezy side for today. Slight chance of an afternoon rain shower or thunderstorm is in the forecast. High of 87 tonight, low 57. Right now we're sitting at 61.
Thank you, Gina. As always, excellent job. And again, brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Please take a hearing screening. If you've noticed a diminishment in your hearing, she can help and will help. Dr. Christine Pickup at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, 312-0957. Caller, thank you for your patience. Go ahead, please.
You're very welcome, Mr. Bell. These so-called liberal boo babies, I think they're kind of getting worried about the lining in their pockets are starting to get holes in them. And they need to cowboy up, pull their big boxers up, and deal with it. We have Republicans that are doing the same thing to Trump. And the only way we can fix this is come election time, both the bastards out of office.
I am fed up with what's going on in politics. I think Mitch McConnell should be having an open door policy for him today. In other words, everybody should just say leave. I'm sick and tired of the backbiting, the infighting, and we need to stand up as Americans when we have a threat against our American territory, Guam, or a state like Alaska, or even the west coast of California. We need to stand up with a unified voice and tell that little fat dictator, sit down, shut up, or we are going to turn your capital into a parking lot.
Well, I totally agree, and I totally agree with Trump's hard line in the sand. If we don't stand up to this little puke, we're sunk. Nobody is ever going to respect the United States again. He's fine, and I really believe that if I back him into a corner, Trump's going to come out swinging, and I think he'll win.
I'm glad to hear you say that because that's my attitude this morning. I look at the liberals and I look at the so-called partisan politics on both the Democrat and the Republican side, and I find it repulsive. And I also find that cartoon that was in the paper this morning comparing President Trump with Kim Jong-un and calling them both madmen. That is repulsive and sick, and I think it's about time we looked at the flag and said, America first and everybody else second.
I totally, my friend.
All right, Donna. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
God bless you, and have a good day, my friend.
Thank you. You know, there's going to be people that say, oh, well, you want to promote America first and everybody second. Yes, I do. I love this country. And I don't think we should ever have to be put in second, third, 23rd, 45th place, whatever. This country has done so much for the rest of the world. This country has done so much to be humanitarian involved with various problems around the world. And I am absolutely sick of the naysayers trying to bring us down. They need a good, swift kick in the south end by a good, pointy-toed Tony Lama. And where they land, I don't care.
Tell it like it is, Zeb.
Why not?
I just like it creates such a visual. It really does. I want to go back and talk about Colin Kaepernick just for a second.
You don't agree with me?
No, I absolutely agree with you. I don't think that Colin Kaepernick should be playing in the NFL. I completely agree with all of the coaches and the ownership of said NFL teams for not wanting to bring that kind of trauma and drama and negativity to their locker room.
Why would you want to chase away 27% or more of the ticket buyers because they stayed away from the games last year because they were so offended by a lack of respect for our national anthem?
Well, not only that, you know, what he has done more to how do I want to put this? He hasn't benefited the NFL. He's lost them money. I mean, as a complete organization, he, as one person, has lost that organization more money than any other person. And there was kind of a rumor going around with some of the media outlets that the Denver Broncos were going to pick him up.
Yeah.
So then John Elway put out a tweet that says, no, to think that we are looking at any other quarterback besides those who are already on our roster, that is false.
But the whole thing boils down to what you and I have been talking about, and the point is, it's a private business. Jerry Jones owns the Dallas Cowboys. To have someone like the racist Spike Lee tell him that they're going to force and coerce him to hire and play Colin Kaepernick, that is Dreamland, USA.
I completely agree. I think Spike Lee is a joke. And if you think that some sort of political movement or, you know, picket line is going to change an organization, a multi-million-dollar organization, if you think that you're going to change their mind just by picketing, I'm sorry, but the fan base, the NFL fan base, is going to stand up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Hey, Gina, thanks for your remarks. I do appreciate it. Caller, quickly, I got about 2 minutes left. Go ahead.
Hey, Zeb, just a minute. I need to make a correction what I said yesterday. I told you that H2 employees, we withheld taxes. The thing that we don't withhold is FICA because they're not able to collect that.
Right.
H2 doesn't do that, and that was a misquote on my part yesterday, and I need to correct that.
No, and I appreciate that, Bert, but the H2 programs, absolutely, in my opinion, and give me a short answer on this, I think should be rejuvenated and refunded because I still think that's a quick and really workable answer to the immigration reform.
Well, and it needs to be expanded to where the dairy people can take advantage of it.
I agree.
I appreciate you.
All right, Bert. God bless you, man. Thank you so much. Bert Stevenson.
Sorry, I misled people yesterday.
Oh, don't worry about that. Thank you, sir. I always appreciate your call. Thank you. Yeah, I got so many other stories I wanted to get hot and heavy about this morning, and I just ran out of time. But I also wanted to talk about a gym in Atlanta. This really fried the bacon black. A gym in Atlanta had posted a sign that said no entrance to policemen and military. You are not welcome here. Oh, boy. I'll talk more about that maybe next Monday. Hey, right now I want to remind you about our great major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. They say, get where you're going safely this summer and then turn around, come back home safely with all the tires that they have for your vehicles, pickup, SUV, car, boat trailer, horse trailer, whatever. They can and will help you with the best of tires for your driving needs. And don't forget, excuse me, the very best of highly trained technicians with their brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. But there again, here comes that 7-letter word, service. They provide a great service to you. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Yes, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Hey, Gina, real quick, honestly, tell me the truth. Didn't you miss my kind of open forum to the point where we do tell it like it is?
I love it. I do miss it.
And I miss having you on the air. Thanks, God bless. We'll be back in about 7 minutes with more Zeb at the Ranch. Don't go away. Oh, good morning, and welcome back. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell. Thank you very much. And, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
I have made a startling decision, and right after Labor Day, I am going to get a big dumpster from Western Waste Services, and I'm going to attempt to clean out this office. I have no idea. We're going to take out the back windows and just pitch and throw out the back window. I'm telling you what, I've got to get this thing cleaned up before Christmas season comes along. I can't find anything. Anyway, they've got all the dumpsters in various sizes. They'll deliver one to you. You fill it up and they'll come and get it. I'm telling you, you're talking service here. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Hey, don't forget, too, our dear friends over at Ark Animal Hospital, Dr. Bill. Dr. Bill is going to be on the phone with us later on this morning from Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street in Hayburn. Yep, number to call for all your animal needs, pet needs, as far as keeping them healthy. They're a mixed animal practice, is 678-1177. Oh, they are good. Dr. Bill and the whole crew serving you and your pets, and they always have warm hearts for cold noses. Ark Animal Hospital, 678-1177. Before we go to the phone line and talk to the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, I also want to remind you about our dear friends over at Hanson Mortuary. Joel Heward, manager, his family, and the staff, they serve you. And they have very flexible hours, and they can travel to the rural towns and churches to help you with all the arrangements when there's the passing of a loved one. And don't forget this, always treating you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please write the number down and call 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, serving you. Right now, a very nice lady. Well, I always get myself in trouble when I say, well, here's Kyla with the Chamber of Commerce, and then it turns out to be Jackie or somebody else. I better check. Good morning, whomever you are.
Hey, good morning, Zeb. It is Kyla. How are you this morning?
I'm good. You've burned me a couple of times, so I'm a little cautious.
I understand. You know what? We have a great team here, though, and sometimes everybody wants to talk to Zeb, so it's really fun when Chris can get on or Jackie can get on, you know, because we like you, so it's kind of fun, and I appreciate it when they can do that for me, too. Sometimes my schedule gets a little hectic.
I understand. Now, here we are in the midst of the summer with fair season and all kinds of happenings. Kyla, you have the floor. Tell us what's going on.
Well, first of all, I got to give you some kudos, Zeb, and that is I was at the Minidoka County Fair and Rodeo last weekend, both Friday and Saturday, and I just want to tell you, you do just a phenomenal job, and I had so much fun, and that was just a great event both nights, and on behalf of the community, just kudos to you, because keeping a rodeo show moving and and all the fun stuff that happens at it and being able to think on your feet. You just do a marvelous job.
Well, that's awfully nice of you, Kyla. Thank you, and I take that as a real compliment. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, yes, we are in the midst of fair season. I call this the quiet week because everybody gets to kind of regroup and take their breath, and then we get ready for the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. That obviously kicks off things in a big way on Saturday with their concert. And they have done some marvelous things with their website. So we have all the events listed, of course, on MinneCashiChamber.com. But also I'd encourage folks, if you want even more detail, and, of course, to get your rodeo tickets this year, get onto the Cassia County Fair's website. That is absolutely going to be imperative. We have been giving away tickets also here at the Chamber. We're going to be a sponsor of that fair as well. And they have just got the full lineup of stuff. I know a lot of people are happy to have this week. We're getting kids registered for school. Everybody's getting ready. But again, stuff kicks off this weekend on Saturday with the big concert, and that is just going to be a whole lot of fun. And then, of course, next week begins all the different fair activities. I'm not going to list every single one. Again, you need to get on their website or get on our website. But definitely then get ready for the for the rodeo and all that action that starts towards the latter half of the week. And then I just want to remind folks today that we do have our monthly chamber luncheon. That's going to be here at Riverside Park in Hayburn. And we're going to have great catering, and then we have boat rides. And if you're interested in checking out the chamber, this is a great way to do it. Come and mix and mingle with a lot of folks. That'll be at noon. We're at the big pavilion right here at Riverside Park in Hayburn. And then, of course, Eclipse. Zeb, we've been talking about this, but I just want to get the word out there. August 21st, that's when we're going to have our big Great American Solar Eclipse event, and we're really encouraging businesses to be thinking about this. You know why?
Well, why?
I think the biggest thing is, first of all, a lot of businesses may not. It's just going to be an interesting time. We are expecting an influx of people that will be traveling here to the southern Idaho and eastern Idaho and other areas to the north here so they can get the best viewing. So a lot of people may have made plans. So we're asking businesses to think about if you have more people coming into your restaurant, if you have more people coming into your gas station or your convenience store, how are you going to handle that influx of people? And do your employees, on the flip side, are they expecting to take the morning off so they can be with their family to enjoy the eclipse? So there's just some preparation things. We know there are some businesses who are closing for the morning, or they are closing that entire day, and we're going to be trying to gathering a list of those businesses so people are aware of that, so that things, if you're looking for certain services, you just may have to wait till, noon when the whole thing's over, or wait till the next day.
Kyla, I wanted to jump in here and say that I invited you on the last time we were on the broadcast, and I'm almost out of time here this morning, but I invited you to be on the air with me at 10:30 on the 21st, if that is still open for you, so that we could do kind of a prequel, if you will, to the eclipse. I would certainly appreciate it.
I think that'd be great, Zeb, absolutely. And we'll have that list of, folks that have told us that they're making different plans in terms of businesses and hours. And I think that'd be great. And again, they're just encouraging folks to just think prepared. If you're planning to travel that day, that's a big one. I know we rely on trucking industry here heavily. And ITD is telling folks you might want to rethink, maybe can you double up your routes the day before? Can you do more after? Because that day in particular, they're just expecting a lot of traffic, so, getting to places may take longer. And absolutely, Zeb, you got me booked for the 21st.
All right, Kyla, at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, and please tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Give us a call, 679-4793, or log on to our website, MinneCashiChamber.com.
You do a wonderful, wonderful job, as with all the people over there at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. I'll be in touch so we can solidify that and all the information for the 21st. God bless you, and thanks for being on the program.
Thanks, Seb. You have a great day.
All right, thank you. Nice lady right there. Kyla at the Chamber of Commerce, thank you so much. Holy cow, I've got another guest coming on the program here momentarily. I want to remind everybody about some of the great merchants that want you to be sure and attend the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo, like Streamline Precision. With Tim and the crew, my goodness, they say a big thank you to all the 4-H'ers and the FFA'ers and all the policemen and firemen in this area. Yep, Streamline Precision with their great steel buildings, and they want everybody to get community involved with the Cassia County Fair. Call them at 678-9204. And our thanks also to Magic Valley Irrigation with Jeff and the crew. Wonderful, wonderful people at 44 East, 500 South of Burley, and they've been offering irrigation system service and repair since way back in 1978. And they manufacture wheel line elbows, and they urge you to be a part of the Cassia County Fair. Along with AMI at 719 Overland and Burley. Look for the big 28-foot wrench over their door, and you'll go nuts over their bolts. I'll tell you what, they really help everybody in the area with what they offer at AMI, and they urge you to be in attendance at the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. We're going to visit with Ryan Samples momentarily, so Ryan, stand by. I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody, too, about Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, 270 Highway 24 to be exact. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4, and this is where the fun is sold. Yes, they've got all the four-wheelers. Yes, they've got the watercraft. Yes, they got the side-by-sides. Yes, they've got a fantastic accessory department, and yes, they've got a great service department to keep you running and enjoying outdoors Idaho. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. It is where the fun is sold. Cassia County Fair coming up, and Ryan Samples with the Fair Board. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Zeb?
Not too shabby. Well, you're going to kick things off, and it's going to start Saturday night with a great big concert with a couple of guys I know, and Aaron Watson and Ned Ledoux. They are going to be great. Tell us about the concert.
Concert, the gates will open at 6:30. You can come in, and the show will start at 8 o'clock, and Ned Ledoux's up first for... supposed to be up for an hour, and then Aaron Watson will play for an hour, hour and a half. It'll be a great show.
What about the tickets and seating arrangements? I mean, what would you suggest to the public? Where do they call? How do they get the seats, etc.?
You can call the fair office and get tickets, or you can go online at thecasiacountyfair.com, and it'll link you to our ticket site. There's plenty of tickets available still in the grandstands. The grandstands are $20, and the arena tickets are $20. Arena tickets, you got to bring your own seat or stand and enjoy the show.
All right. Now, that is going to kick off the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo for this year. And then give us kind of a thumbnail sketch about next week. What's going to take place next week, all the way through from Monday through Saturday?
Monday they start out with there's a dairy show, and there's and then the Monday night at 8 o'clock is our infamous Moto Rodeo, and then Tuesday was some more livestock shows. You've got then that night's the team sorting, and it will be happening. Wednesday we've got the parade at 10:30. Wednesday night again we've got another show with the Moto Rodeo. There'll be some freestyle jumpers on Wednesday night. Not on Monday night, but Wednesday night we'll have some freestyle jumpers, so there'll be some extra that goes along with the show there. And then Thursday we've got the normal stuff, 4-H shows, the beef show, the swine show. Thursday night we got PRCA Rodeo, and then Friday we've got got some more beef, swine shows. I don't know if there's other stuff going on. We've got the free stage starting on Wednesday. We've got a hypnotist comes in for 3 shows a day, and a guy by the name of Amazing Arthur. He's kind of a hypnotist. The other does a magician, mentalist, something show. So those are free stages that we've got going on. And we've got then Friday we got the rodeo at night. Saturday the fat stock sale. Breakfast is at 7. The sale starts at 8. Saturday night is the last performance of the rodeo at 8.
You know, Ryan, I would imagine that a smart person on the fair board is trying to stack up on all the sleep they can get right now, because it doesn't sound like you're going to put your old head in the pillow for a while.
No, we haven't for a while either. We got a lot of projects we've been working on.
Well, now tell me a little bit about this motocross, this motor rodeo. I mean, what are some of the events? What happens there?
there's several classes. We've tried to break it up into classes so each kid can compete. We make an obstacle course in the racetrack in the arena, and they race side by side, head to head, and kind of a single elimination deal. And then I think we set up a course. The course isn't the same every year, so there's no real go out and practice. You just come in and we surprise them with something that we've came up with, and so they race head to head, single elimination, you're out. And but it takes us a couple nights. We've got 40 people in one class, and I know there's 20 or 30 in another. I think we'll race almost 200 contestants.
Wow, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, a fair is supposed to have something for everybody, and that's exactly what happens at the Cassia County Fair. Give us a little insight as to what's going to happen with the entertainment on the free stage.
The free stage is, I don't know all the acts that they've got on the free stage, but I do know that we've got the, Lester Kendrick, the hypnotist, he'll be performing three shows a day. And then there's this, we got a tires West. Les Schwab Tires has been good to help us, and we've got a little more money, so we got a mentalist, and he's kind of I don't know, his website says he's a self-proclaimed show-off or something, so I've talked to him a little bit. It'll be a good show, so there'll be 6 hours a day of free shows with those guys at the free stage.
All right. Now, on Wednesday of next week, August the 16th, the parade, 10:30 in the morning. You want to tell us a little bit about the parade and also the route?
The route will start at the Overland at, I guess, 27th and Overland. It comes all the way down through the main center of town on Overland until it gets to Main Street, and then ends at the turns left and ends at the fairgrounds. It turns right and ends at the fairgrounds. Sorry, and then starts at 10:30. I think they've got a new deal. If you are in the parade, if you're going to have a float in the parade, you show up. That's the order you're in. I think they've changed that to where there's not a specific time you have to show up to be in order to be judged. They're trying to work with everybody, so you have to sit there for hours and hours if you didn't want to, but you will be at the end of the parade if you show up late.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Horse racing in Idaho. Let's talk a little bit about pari-mutuel horse racing. Have you got some good horses coming in?
We don't know exactly what we'll have for horses because we don't enter until Wednesday of next week. We've got a lot of races. We've put out some good purse money. We hope that it's successful again. We will be racing on Friday and Saturday at 1:00 if we get the horses to sign up.
Okay. And also, every county fair and rodeo has to have a carnival. What's going on with the carnival this year?
Brown's Amusement will be back. It starts Wednesday at 5 p.m. I'm not sure which day Buddy Day is. I believe it's Thursday, but I'll probably quote myself wrong, of course. But there is Buddy Day. There is tickets available right now if you want to buy some tickets beforehand, either at the fairgrounds or at Taco Bandito. There's some pre-buy tickets that are a little bit cheaper. So.
All right, and then, of course, the big PRCA rodeo Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Anything that you want to highlight there?
Thursday night is our man-up night, so wear purple to the rodeo. There's Friday night's tough enough to wear pink, and then Saturday night is our Patriot night. So we try to honor some veterans or somebody that needs honored.
Well, it sounds to me like you've got everything put together. Now, what's Ryan Sample's main duty during the fair? I mean, what have they listed with you next to your name that you are in charge of?
Oh, way too much, I think. No, I'm in charge of the grounds and the concert. So once the concert's over, then I can just go sit in the tractor and go back and forth and water.
Okay, and then also the fishing pole is out of the question for the next couple of days.
Yeah, the fishing pole's out of the question because I have to do all that stuff after everybody goes home.
I see. Oh, one thing we forgot to talk about is Tuesday you've got a team ranch sorting. Would you highlight a little bit about that?
Oh, man, I'm not sure when the deadline is to sign up for that, but I know that we will have it. We do have cattle on the way, and I think it starts at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. Free admission, anybody wants to come and watch. Usually plenty of contestants, and it's a lot of fun.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate you being on the air this morning, and I know you've got some long days and short nights headed for you. Ryan Samples with the Cassia County Fair, thanks for coming on the program.
Yep, thanks for having us, Deb.
All right, sir. Good to talk to you again. Have a good one. Thanks much.
Yep, you too.
All right. Ryan Samples, good old boy right there, with the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. All kinds of fun activities starting actually this Saturday with a great big concert. Be sure and get your tickets. Go to www.cassiacountyfair.com. There you go. Oh, I got to pay some bills here real fast. And let's see, where am I going to go next? Oh, Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Highway 24 between Rupert and everywhere else, serving you with the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits for you, your family, and your business. These people are the professionals. Dedicated and responsive to your needs. Please call. Make an appointment today. Don't put it off. Make an appointment today to make sure you're covered. 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Excuse me for the raspy voice, but the smoke won. Oh, my goodness. Hey, by the way, too, and we're very fortunate to have these wonderful people on our program. Thank you so much for what you do. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. You know, they're just so nice and so amenable to having you come by and kind of take a little tour, check them out. And I would imagine you'd be really, really happy about having your loved one that needs a little extra help every day reside right there at Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center. That's right. They make every effort to make Autumn Haven the best place. And they're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Call them today and find out more. 436-3200. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. Really, really nice people. In a few moments, we're going to have Rita Ramsey on the program, and I always look forward to having her come on the program for Thursday's segment. I want to remind you, too, that the annual Community Ice Cream Social at the Rupert United Methodist Church is going to be this Sunday. Oh, boy. Homemade ice cream and cakes. I love those things. I used to go to a lot of ice cream socials back in Wisconsin, and they're going to have entertainment by David and Melissa Bowman, and you know what? It's all free. I'm not kidding you. Annual Community Ice Cream Social this Sunday, the 13th, starting at 6 p.m. at the Rupert United Methodist Church, 605 H Street, right on the front lawn, and it's free. Stop over and have a good time. You know, there's more than just one fair going on in this country, and I'll tell you what, we also want to acknowledge our friends over at the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo, and they've got their last PRCA performance tonight, and it's tough enough to wear pink night tonight. They've got some of the nation's best cowboys coming into Jerome at the Jerome County Fair, and I'll tell you what, the fair's been going on for quite some time over there, and boy, they have fun every day, and I want to remind you, too, along with the rodeo, the last performance tonight, on Friday, tomorrow, they're going to have, of course, the bloodless bullfights in the arena. Woo! Little dangerous out there. And then on Saturday, that great big tractor pulling contest. I mean, this is the cream of the crop, Jerome County Fair and Rodeo over at Jerome at the Jerome County Fairgrounds. Don't you miss it. Right now, I'm going to say good morning to a lovely lady that, like I said, she's been on my program for a long, long time, sharing her political thoughts with mine. Rita Ramsey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Well, I was doing great this morning until, with all the bad news that's going on in the world, I can handle it. I can study it. I can kind of make my own supposition as to what's going to happen or not going to happen. But then I got hit with a bombshell that said Hillary Clinton wants to become a preacher.
Well, let's see how that does for her. I bet you she doesn't get very rich over that one.
I mean, really, Rita, did you hear about this story?
I didn't. That's total news to me.
I am not kidding you. They came out with an 8-page press release. I am not exaggerating. I've got it right here in my hand. And they were going on, and here's what the first line of the story was. Hillary Clinton wants to preach. That's what she told Bill Shalady, her longtime pastor, and she wants to become a United Methodist minister.
Well, I say let her invest some of her money and maybe fix one of those corners up in a dilapidated area and fix up a church and see how it goes. I doubt she'll have a very big following.
Yeah, but doesn't this, and I know you're very perceptive, you are one sharp lady. Doesn't this just reek of pandering to a base that supposedly she didn't have and evidently did not have during the last election? And you can see the pandering to be the common citizen, to be back with those that are believers, the evangelicals. Can't you see this pandering?
Oh, yes, and the thing that's sad about her is it's like, well, let's try every angle and see if we can't pull in some support someplace. She's not going to be able to pull in support. It doesn't matter whether she's a church or whether she's got a foundation that she's skimming money from all kinds of places and extorting money, actually. But they're just, it's sad. You would think that they would say, you know what, let's just kind of fade away here. I mean, if I was the big loser, and that's what she was, the big loser, if I was the big loser, I would say, you know what, I guess I'm not as popular as I thought I might be, so I'm just going to kind of go back into my own little world and make a difference right here and there and do stuff to keep me busy.
When do politicians, in your opinion, not get it? That they really should leave the pasture and go into obscurity? Look at Mitch McConnell. There's another example, and I'm an equal opportunity offender. I don't like him, and I don't think he should be in politics anymore.
Well, he really shouldn't, and I think that a lot of times politicians become egomaniacs because they're in the forefront and they think I'm so popular and I'm so important, and pretty soon they forget what they were doing is they actually signed up to serve their community or their country, and that means you're a slave to those people and you're willing to serve them. But instead it's like, oh, if I can be a politician, I'll be popular, and it just gets way out of control. And with Mitch McConnell, I don't really know what his game is, but where he's in Kentucky, he's got a base that all he has to do is just kind of keep saying, yeah, we'll see if we can keep those coal mines open and everything. I heard a guy the other day say Mitch McConnell's one and only thing was to get his wife back into the federal government so that she had a spot and she had an important place. And then he could just kind of loaf around, and so that's actually what he's doing, being that she's the transportation secretary, and that they don't really have any reason to be doing anything. Criminy, he's got to be kicking close to 80.
He is, yes.
And it's just sad because he's not effective. He needs to be replaced. I can't imagine in my wildest dreams why his state continues to elect him.
Well,
Jim.
Let me throw the words at you that he used the other day that, honestly, I bashed him on the program, and I'm going to continue bashing Mitch McConnell as a has-been and a never-will-again type politician, when he said that Donald Trump was using excessive expectations. I really found that offensive because I'll tell you what, the Republicans had 7 years to plan and program and get ready for a potential leadership change, and McConnell dropped the ball.
Well, the big problem is that you get your politicians and they think, well, if we stretch this out long enough, either the people will forget what we're supposed to be doing and they'll jump to some other issue, or we can just do what we want to do. And it doesn't matter what the rest of the, what the rest of the country wants or any of my constituents or anything else. They'll forget. So it's basically about power. I'll just do whatever I want to do. And if somebody comes in like Trump that's saying, hey, we need to do such and such, and Mitch McConnell has the audacity to say, well, he just hasn't been around long enough. It just takes time. Well, I quite liked Trump's tweet saying, hey, I've been listening for 7 years that you were going to get rid of it. What's the deal? Why does it take so much longer now?
Absolutely. Okay, now that leads us to the crux of what I really wanted to talk about this morning. You didn't like Donald Trump, and he was not, I want to emphasize, as you know from past programs, he was not my first choice either. However, I have gained a lot more respect for the man and his toughness and his stance, especially during this onslaught of North Korea making all kinds of crazy threats and now threatening Guam of all places. And yet he and his rhetoric were nothing even close to past presidential rhetorics and senatorial rhetorics against possible use of nuclear weapons. And the Democrats and the liberal media are just assailing Donald Trump. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I think it's really sad to think that we're in the place that we are with North Korea. This could have been avoided had we have not had presidents early on that had said, let's just tolerate them, let's just kind of ignore them, they're not going to be a threat. But that's not true now. And we still have politicians who are saying, oh, they're not going to be a threat, let's just ignore them and everything will be fine. Well, so what do? Wait for them to bomb the crap out of Alaska?
Yeah.
That's one of their closest, their missiles can get to Alaska pretty easily.
Yeah.
And they can get to the West Coast pretty easily of our country. So it's like, are we just going to sit back and wait for them to do that?
Well, let me ask you this.
Say, hey, we're not going to put up with that kind of crap, so you better just cool your jets there, Buster, a little general with a bad haircut.
Let me ask you this. What is the difference? And I said this first hour. If you were listening, you heard this analogy. What is the difference in Trump sitting down and saying very, very precisely the other day, if they persist in their threats and they make any move, we will meet them with fire and fury? What is the difference, and what is worse for him to say that than going back to the Cuban Missile Crisis with John F. Kennedy standing up to Nikita Khrushchev? What is the difference?
Well, I don't really know that there's any difference, but unless you show that you're not going to put up with it, they're going to keep encroaching on places where they shouldn't be. And that was why even Ronald Reagan was, remember, he was the cowboy.
Yep.
He doesn't have any business threatening the Soviet Union. He's going to have us in a war with them, and boy, that's just going to be the end of the world and everything else. And I mean, that was everybody, even his speechwriters.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't say this kind of stuff to him. You just can't do it. And I mean, he had everybody up in arms, and guess what? He let them know that we can have peace through strength.
Yep.
And that's the only way that we're going to have peace, is if we flex our muscles and say, if we have to do something, we will.
Well,
if you want to just keep things nice, then you're going to have to recognize that we have strength. But when you do like Barack Obama and you go in and you take down the Star Wars shield and everything else so that Europe isn't protected from, the bad guys like Russia and China and that, And it's kind of like, well, we're just going to be in our own little world. And this is the other thing that really bothers me is, and I like, all of a sudden my mind went blank for his name. His dad was one of the presidential runners to. Anyway, he's an isolationist.
Okay.
And he ran for president.
Oh, you're talking about Rand Paul.
Paul, yeah. And anyway, they'll sit back and go, no, let's just keep, in America, we just need to pay attention to what's going on here. We don't need to worry about anything else in the world any place. We can't be the world's policeman. Well, guess what? Because we are the biggest in the world, we are the world's police, and we have to be vigilant. And that's how we keep peace in the world, is that we say, listen, we're in charge, and we're not going to put up with any of your crap, so you better just cool your jets.
Well, look at and boy, you talk about two-faced, and you talk about somebody that absolutely can't remember that sound bites are recorded, is John McCain from Arizona. He came out, remember, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and was really denouncing Kim Jong-un and calling him a short little fat guy and made all kinds of derogatory statements. I thought he was 100% spot on about Kim Jong-un, because I think he said what he had to say at that time. But now he comes out and denounces Trump for saying fire and fury. These Republicans and their absolute hate for Donald Trump and his administration, they are going to destroy themselves because there's no party unity.
Well, the big thing is now all of a sudden McCain's found himself, okay, I'm not healthy enough to really do what I need to do, so I'm going to have to bow out. And before I bow out, I think I will just do as much damage as I can to Donald Trump, because I didn't like him anyway. And so he goes and sides with the Democrats about numerous different things. And I think he's just out on a mission of destruction. I'll do whatever I can to destroy whatever. It's not like, okay, I'm the patriot. I love my country. I'm going to do whatever I can. I would get behind those saying, hey, the only way that you do something is to show that you're strong and you're not going to put up with their crap. But for us to just sit back and say, oh, well, I think it'll be okay if we just ignore them. Susan Rice came out with a bit this morning saying, hey, Donald Trump is just trying to get us into trouble. He just needs to accept that North Korea is a nuclear power player and just ignore them. They'll be fine.
Oh, my goodness.
Hello?
Let me ask you, I really feel a compassion for what is going on in the minds of the people that live in our American territory of Guam. Can you imagine they're only about 2,100 miles from North Korea, well within the range of their missiles, and why Guam? What have those people ever done to anybody? And now they're the supposed prime target of this fat man, Kim Jong-un. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, the reason why he's going to target them is, first of all, they can. They're close enough that they can be a threat to them. And second of all, they're part of the United States, even though they're a territory.
Right.
It's like, well, we can harm you, we can get you. It might only be your little toe that we'll step on, but we'll get you somehow. And they're just using them as a pawn to say, hey, this is what we're going to do, so you better not talk mean to us, or this is what we'll do to them. Saying kind of like, okay, Mom, we're going to take your kids away from you if you don't just settle in and do what you're supposed to. And so Mom says, well, they're threatening me. I better just go ahead and do what they say. And that they want to take the upper hand. But that's what happens when you come off of a presidency like President Obama that would say, well, I think we're going to draw a red line, and don't you dare cross it. And, oh, by the way, we'll give Iranian all the nukes and the power and the everything that they want, not to mention the billions of dollars that they need to do it. And, I mean, he armed up the rest of the world and put ours on, let's decline.
Yeah.
All of our military and everything else. And so I think they're just trying to say, well, this is who we can attack, so you better quit it or we're going to be after you, and that we'll back down. because we do have a lot of people who would do that. This happened in World War I, or after World War I was over. FDR and a bunch of others knew that we were going to be attacked by the Japanese. But because nobody had the stomach for war, because we had just come off of World War I, not that far before, they just kind of said, oh, we don't want to do it, we're not going to do anything, we're not going to be, we're not going to play defense, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to kind of sit back and see if they'll leave us alone. And look what happened, and we were back in war again. But you have to be strong and say, no way.
That's right. I want to talk to you. I mentioned first hour. I don't know if you had a chance to see that cartoon that was so offensive to me this morning, but I'm going to talk to you about it right after I do a weather forecast, so stay tuned. Rita Ramsey, I'll be right back with her in just a minute. I want to remind you our weather brought to you this hour by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, CPAs that have provided accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. They are the best at what they do in serving you and your business. Tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, bookkeeping services, retirement planning, and so much more. Please remember they've got 2 offices, one in Burley, one in Rupert, and they will serve you. Call them. Find out more. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, CPAs that do the best for you. Here now is our weather forecast with Gina.
Well, weather for today, we are still in that air quality advisory due to all of the smoke in the area, so be advised of that. Looking at mostly sunny skies for today, a little bit on the breezy side, gusts possible 25 plus. High of 87 tonight, low of 57 tomorrow. Still going to be smoky, a little bit on the breezy side, sunny skies. High of about 89 with an overnight low of 57. Then for Saturday and Sunday, mostly sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the low 90s. Right now we're at 64.
Very well done, as always. Gina, thank you for the weather, brought to you by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, CPAs. My goodness sakes, as I said, they're the best, and they can really help a lot of folks that are starting a business, a partnership, or a corporation. Maybe you want to expand on your employees. All the information for you at Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. You be sure and get a hold of them today. Rita, in the paper, the Times News this morning, a syndicated cartoonist by the name of Mike Lukovic. I know you've heard of him. He's always very liberal and very anti-conservative, etc. The cartoon was a very simple cartoon, and it showed a shadowy figure of both Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump holding nuclear weapons in their hand, and the simple headline of the cartoon was "Mad Men." I took offense to this because we need a president. We need a leadership that's going to stand up and be tough for not only us, but for the world, like we previously mentioned. And I am sick and tired of a correlation always by these sick liberals of trying to say our president of the United States is of the same personality, low-life personality, of Kim Jong-un.
Well, you and I both know that liberals are not grown-ups. We need a grown-up to stop some of this craziness that's going on. And so this liberal guy who decides he's going to equate Trump with the fat guy with the bad haircut is absolutely ridiculous, because all he's doing is degrading, but he's trying to say also, don't you just think we should just pay attention to what's going on around here and not worry about the rest of the world, and it's okay because let them nuke each other, whatever. And I mean, they just don't care. Liberals are not grown-ups. They absolutely have no common sense about them in many things, and it's just really sad because somebody has to be mature and say, we're going to take the lead and we're not going to put up with this crap, and if you don't believe us, just try us. And I thought that it was quite interesting that over last weekend that you could get China and Russia and the United States to agree on sanctions against North Korea, because that couldn't have happened a number of years ago. China was too good of friends with North Korea.
Right.
But I think right now China's saying, we've unleashed a real devil, and he's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and he needs to be slapped down. And that's why, in my own way of thinking, and this is totally, I don't even like to think that I think this way. I wish somebody would just get rid of that little fat guy with the bad haircut. Just get rid of him some way or the other. Put him in prison for hard labor for 40 years or something.
You know, Rita, when you think about the situation over there in North Korea and all the money that goes into the military for their food and the advancement of their weapons, and the basic culture, the people that are starving to death, and they might get a bowl of rice a day as their ration of food, you would think that, and I know a lot of human life would be lost, but you would think there would be an uproar, and these millions and millions of people would say, enough, and storm the grounds of this leadership and literally take him out.
Well, it's the same people who are so concerned with the earth and everything else, and yet, you know, they'll we've got to take care of the earth. We can't have this. We can't have that. You can't drive a diesel truck that uses a lot of gas. You can't drive a car that's a gas hog. You can't use too much electricity in your house. You can't do this and you can't do that and the other. And yet they'll let them scar up this earth with those stupid windmill things.
Yeah.
And various other things. So for them to be, you know, on board with, do you realize that he's starving to death all these people? We shouldn't tolerate it. We should go in and do something, or, you know, take him out, or whatever we need to do. We need to save humankind over there. That's irrelevant. They don't care about that. They just absolutely do not care. They'll be the ones that are saying, we're standing up for human rights and everything else, and yet there'll be just literally millions and millions of people dying of starvation.
Well, you know,
it's going to get worse before it gets better in North Korea, because those people who live in North Korea are going to be the ones who suffer the worst wrath of anybody.
I agree. And you know what you just said goes in complete correlation with this absolute nut job, Bill Nye, the so-called science guy. I don't know if you heard about this or not, but basically he said that in order for climate change and the momentum of climate change to take over us in this generation, we have to die. We're in the way. We're causing problems because we're asking too many questions, and we're not rubber stamping the belief in climate change, so he urges us to hurry up and die.
Well, first of all, before we all die, I would like the real truth to be brought out about all of the figures, because they go and pick and choose which years they want to include in their figures as far as any of their averages and stuff go, and they take out the ones that help it to average into we're not seeing anything new. This is cyclical. It happens. It's been happening for ever since the world was created.
That's
right.
right.
And the other thing is, if he thinks that we all need to die, I say, okay, fine, you be the first one to jump off the cliff, and then the rest of us will have a little conference and decide if we want to follow.
Oh, I like this lady and her thinking. Rita, what's going on with the Tea Party? I forgot to ask you that last week. Are you still kind of in a hiatus over the summer?
Right. We're not doing anything. There's just so much going on, and so we're not meeting during the summer.
Okay. You know, there's so many other things I wanted to mention to you. I wanted to talk a little bit more about McConnell, and I also wanted to talk about Atlanta. And, you know, this is the idiocy of the liberals, and I'll have you give a short response on this, and then I've got to go. But in Atlanta, they've got a gymnasium now that hung up a sign on the door that says no to cops and military because they might their being there might cause people not to want to come in and exercise. Why in the world are we losing respect for our police and our military?
Well, the biggest thing is the liberals have always been against them, but when we had this last liberal in the White House, he just escalated everything, and he's got it to where everybody's thinking, oh, it's okay because Obama did it to be against the police and the military. Well, you know what I think that the people in Atlanta need to do, and any place else as this happens, is they need to stop participating in any of that and just say, you know what, we don't want to do any of this, and let it just dry up.
Absolutely. Rita, I hate to leave. It's interesting, always a lot of fun. Rita Ramsey, thanks for being on the show. God bless.
You bet. Bye.
All righty, take care. Rita Ramsey, I enjoy her. Okay. I had a bagel at 4 o'clock this morning, and I'm hungry and starving to death, and I know some great places to go for lunch. How about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley? Oh, chicken fried steak sandwich with fries and special sauce, and maybe orange and lemonade freeze. Ooh, so good. And, of course, the famous Farmer Brown burgers, all of this and more at the AC Drive-In 601 East Main in Burley. Well, how about Taco Bandito? 2301 Overland in Burley. They've got that new pork burrito with beans, pork, rice, sour cream, and cheese. Absolutely delicious. And here's something I really like. Taco Bandito has bacon with jalapeno in it. Woo! Light up your life. All the great food and the breakfast burritos, everything at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. And, of course, burgers, etc. 2 locations, 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. Root beer floats only 99 cents after 3 p.m. Great for Fair Week. And fresh strawberry shakes and onion rings and burgers and everything. It's delicious at both locations. In Rupert and Burley, burgers, etc. Really, really good. And let's move over to Heyburn right now for Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Heyburn. Food made the way you love it. And the famous patio is open so you can enjoy music Friday and Saturday nights outside along with great eating. And they got a new salad called the Chaos Salad, chicken breast with bacon, pickles, jalapeno peppers. It's great. And they've got cupcakes and they've got buffalo burgers and really nice people serving you at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Heyburn. And last but not least, as I'm drooling all over the microphone, Doc's Pizza at 514 6th Street in Rupert. Oh, they've been voted again the best pizza in the Minicash area for 2017. They've got all the delicious pizzas and a great salad bar and soups and, oh my goodness, the sub sandwiches. They really can serve you with delicious food. Doc's Pizza, 514 6th Street in Rupert. And those are just a few great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. Right now, we're going to send it back to Gina and CBS News. I'll be back in about 7 minutes. Okay, here we go. Hour number 3 on a Thursday, August the 10th. My goodness, glad to have you aboard. And, of course, we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. We have, as you know, a compilation of a whole bunch of fairs and all kinds of activities going on right now. And the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo is going on. And, boy, they're in the midst of all their fun. Tonight, they're going to have the last performance of their PRCA rodeo. And it starts at 7:30 p.m. And it's tough enough to wear paint night at the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo. And they're going to have a bunch of great cowboys coming in under the banner of the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. And, of course, don't forget, too, tomorrow they're going to have all kinds of activity. They're going to have all kinds of shows and exhibits and the carnival and the bloodless bullfights tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. in the Depew Arena. And on Saturday, holy moly, they're going to have that great, big, famous tractor pulling contest. All of this and more at the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo, and it's in full swing at the Jerome County Fairgrounds. Don't miss it. In just a moment, we're going to have Cassia County School Days, so stand by for that. But I also have to tell you about another fair that's going on, and that's the Cassia County Fair and all the great merchants that invite you to the fair. And we're talking about our good friends with Pickett Equipment Company at 976 East Main in Burley. Steve Pickett and the whole crew. What a family. what great bean and farm equipment they have for you at Pickett Equipment Company. And they ship equipment all over the United States and, for that matter, the world. Great folks at Pickett Equipment Company urging you to attend the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. Also, the good folks, great folks, Shelley and the crew at the Goodie Shop, 133 East Main in Burley. Oh, delicious goodies for everybody. I mean, we're talking cookies, brownies, sandwiches. Oh, I mean, the name is right. It's the Goodie Shop at 133 East Main in Burley, 647-0106. And let's not forget Streamline Precision at 120 South, 100 West of Burley. Oh, great folks. Tim, the rest of the crew, they can build all your steel insulated panels, freezers, prefabricated buildings, everything. They are your steel building specialists. Streamline Precision in Burley, urging you to attend the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. Nice people. Well, right now we're going to have Cassia County School Days, and we're very honored to announce our two sponsors. They are, first of all, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and they've got new merchandise arriving every single week. All the new fall dresses and the baby blankets and all the furniture and everything at A Child's World. Great place to shop at 1308 Overland in Burley. And the other sponsor, of course, Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, number to remember, 677-8888. And they can save you a lot of money on your outpatient surgeries like life-saving colonoscopy. So please call today and find out more. 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County. With us today is a lady by the name of Kathy Bennett, and she is a computer teacher at Declo Junior High. Kathy, good morning.
Good morning to you as well. How are you today?
Well, I want you to know right up front that you are talking to the most illiterate person when it comes to knowing anything about computers. So, boy, we're in for a tough 10 minutes, I think. Kathy, tell us a little bit about what you do with the kids over at Declo Junior High with the computer science program that you have.
Well, I have all the 7th and 8th graders, and I recently completed some training, and it's a new program developed by the Code.org group, and it's called Computer Science Discoveries. It's got 6 units, and it teaches them how to develop their own web page, problem solve, create their own games, create their own apps. And understanding the high idea of digital citizenship, and what do you put on the internet, what don't you put on the internet, and everything. And so I teach them units 1 through 3 in 7th grade, and 4 through 6th and 8th grade as part of their computer class in my room.
Okay. Now, Kathy, I'm going to say this, and I don't mean to be arbitrary. I just think I need to say this and see how you'd respond. Are we forcing, or coercing our kids in school to do too much on computers to the point where that's all they think about is just having their fingers on the keyboard?
I'm one, I like limits, okay? I don't like spending all my time on the computer either. But I want my class to be an introduction to computer science. It's not just playing games on the computer. It's the understanding of what goes into developing all of these things. The number one source of all new wages in the U.S. is computing occupations. And if I can give them a background in computer science and they like it, then maybe they will go on in high school and college into that field. Right now, we don't have enough computer science graduates to fill the jobs in Idaho we have.
Really?
And it's there was a quote by Steve Jobs, and he just said, computer science is a liberal art. It's something that everybody should be exposed to, and everyone should have mastery of it to some extent.
I guess
with our world full of computers, and that's where it's headed, I think they need to have a basic understanding of how things work.
I agree with you, and I like the way you answered that, but my fear is, and I think you'll agree with me on this, is that we see so many of the children today tunnel-visioned, if you will, to where they're on the computer 24/7 or playing the computer games, etc., and really missing out on exercise they need for a healthy lifestyle, and quite frankly, getting outdoors and doing something.
I guess I agree to a certain extent. I guess that's got to be a personal choice for them and for their families. What I do in school is I have them for 80 minutes a day. I don't require them to do any homework, but I can give them, I can teach them about it and do that. And then I think it's got to be a personal choice how much time they spend outside of my classroom on those things. That's something I can't control.
Well, I would say...
They need to have an understanding of it all.
I would say this, and now I'm going to start to swing around the other way. The pendulum's going to go the other way now. I wish that you had a course for us old fogies like me, because I am so computer illiterate, and quite frankly, I've got a fear of sitting down at the computer that I'm really going to mess something up. I'm afraid that I'm going to launch a missile to hit New Jersey or something.
I would invite you to go to the code.org site and just try out some of just try out any of their courses. They've got courses from kindergarten through high school. And, start out with the first or second grade course. I am not that young. I just started learning about computer science, about 4 years ago when I went to a tech conference, took a breakout session on it, and thought it was fun. So I just started learning on my own.
Wow.
I think it's wonderful. The only computer science I had in college was Fortran. That tells you how old I really am, taking Fortran umpteen years ago. And it's fun, and this program makes it so anyone can learn, no matter what your background is.
What does the future look like, Kathy? I mean, you teach this, you're around it every day, but what about the future? I've heard people say that every single minute of every single day there are upgrades in the computer sciences and what people do with computers. How would you respond to that?
It is. Like I said, 71% of new STEM jobs are in computing.
Wow.
And they only have 8% of STEM graduates that are in computer science. So you have got a field open to all those people. The job opportunity in computer science is there. And in Idaho, the average salary for computing jobs is $71,000, just a little over $71,000 compared to the average salary in the state of $41,000. So you go into computer science, you're guaranteed a job, and it's a great job that you can provide, make a good living at.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the way. Not everybody's going to like it, but those that are exposed to it and want to go further, it's there for them.
What about when they're in your class, whether it's primarily the 7th and 8th grade or whatever, and they have, about a 55-minute class during the day? Is that right? Is that about the same time?
It varies between school. Mine are about 75-minute classes.
I see. But then, for me, when I left the classroom when I was in high school years ago when they used to circle the wagons at night, my retention factor was gone. I was more interested in basketball and football and everything else. But now you also kind of really focus on how these kids can practice at home, correct?
They can if they so desire, but my lessons are built that I want them to do what they need to do inside my class, so I am there to answer questions if they need to. It's a discovery program where they discover the answer to things. I think one of the biggest problems they have is that sometimes there's not just one right answer, and students struggle with that today, but you build on that problem-solving process to, go back, reflect on what you did. Let's change this, see if it works. And then I'm there to help answer any questions that they may have and encourage them this way and that way. If they want to go home and work on them, they're more than welcome to, but I encourage them to do most of the stuff in my classroom, so I am there to help them.
Now, is anything that you're doing at DECLO, are other schools, not only in Cassia County School District, but other schools, are they doing the same types of things and classes with computers?
Recently, in Phoenix, I work with Code.org to help train other teachers as well. And at their TeacherCon in Phoenix, we recently trained 12 new teachers in Idaho to implement this in their classrooms. We had them from northern Idaho, eastern western Idaho, and central Idaho. We had about a handful of teachers from not Mini-Cassia, but the Magic Valley area. We had one teacher from Burley Junior High that also participated.
Now, 10 years ago...
There are other teachers in Idaho doing this. We've trained so far in Idaho. Code.org has trained, about 4, looks like, I'm looking at the numbers here, right around 500 teachers within the state of Idaho with their programs.
Now, about 10 years ago, we're wrapping up the segment here, but about 10 years ago in your teaching career, did you ever have any idea that you would be this proficient with computers and teaching it as a course in school?
No. I always like to use technology in my classroom to help students learn, but did I ever think I would be teaching computer science? I never had that thought never entered my mind until I took that breakout session at a technology conference and fell in love with it.
Wow. I can see that there's a passion and a real like of what you do in your voice. Are you anxious for the school season to start up again for 2017?
I am very excited, and I'm going in later today to start, rearranging my room and get going on it. I am very excited.
Well, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you taking the time to come on our program. A computer teacher at DECLO Junior High School, Kathy Bennett, a very nice lady. Kathy, thank you so much for being on the program this morning.
And thank you for allowing me to talk with you today.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it. Nice lady right there, Kathy Bennett of DECLO Junior High School. And, of course, Cassia County School Days brought to you by our Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. And, of course, our friends at Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue, Suite E in Burley. The number to call, 677-8888. Thank you very much for putting on my program, Cassia County School Days. And also a big thank you to the lovely Debbie Critchfield, the Cassia County Schools Communication Officer. She lines up all these programs for us every week, and I certainly appreciate all of her effort. Oh, my goodness sakes, let's see what's going on. Cassia County Fair. Don't forget the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo, and they're going to start actually this Saturday night with a great concert. When I say a great concert, I know both these guys, and they really put out a great entertaining concert. Ned Ledoux and Aaron Watson. Woo! Yeah, you're going to love the songs and the singing and everything else at this big concert. Go to www.CassiaCountyFair.com for your tickets, and then don't forget all next week, the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. I mean, they're going to have that moto rodeo. They're going to have hypnosis. They're going to have a great big carnival. They're going to have a parade next Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Knock your socks off great. And then team ranch sorting, along with, don't forget, parimutuel horse racing and 3 big days of professional rodeo action. All of this at your Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and we are going to visit with one of the nicest people that I've had an occasion to visit with on the program, and that's Dr. Bill over at Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn. Good morning, Dr. Bill. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Zeb?
Well, I tell you what, it's cooled off a little bit, but a lot of smoke. What does the smoke do to animals? Do they have the same kind of problems that human beings do?
Absolutely. We're seeing all kinds of allergic tonsillitis, bronchitis type situations. So if your dog has had a history of any kind of a asthma type condition, you probably ought to keep him indoors until the smoke clears up.
What about, like I'm in the horse business and outside a lot, working horses out, roping, etc. Does that do damage to their lungs that's irreparable, or what happens here?
Not usually. It's not irreparable, but it's definitely setting them up to be like an asthmatic horse, one that's I don't know what they call it, no wind,
right?
Not being able to run,
right?
Setting them up for that for sure. So and the easiest way I think to do that, especially if you're keeping them in a corral, Zeb, is keep the dust down in the corral. If you can set a sprinkler out there, and hold that dust down, I think you'd be much better off.
Oh, I agree with you 1,000%. Another thing, too, what about don't just throw that hay on the ground out there in that corral if it's real dusty. Don't do that, right?
That's right. In fact, if your hay is really dusty, what I'd do is I'd put it in one of them rubber tubs and hose it down with some water.
Right, absolutely. Now,
that hay dust, because hay dust is probably as bad as anything for these almost longer horses, the asthma type horses, the bronchitis.
Right. Dr. Bill, right now, with all kinds of things going on and the dogs going outside with us and the ticks and the fleas and everything, and you take your dog fishing and he's rolling around in the bushes, that's kind of dangerous because they can transfer those ticks over to human beings, can't they?
Absolutely, and Lyme's disease is a real threat. We don't see very many cases of it in Idaho, but there's some other rickettsial-type diseases that are carried by ticks, and we actually have a product that if you give to your dog, it's just an awesome product, and it works for 3 months. It's called Brevecto, and it's a chewable tablet they get, and, man, it works good. It keeps the ticks. And that's the real thing that I would worry about, the ticks, keeping the ticks off your dog so that he doesn't bring them home. Because what's going to happen is the tick's going to go on your dog, take a blood meal, and then he's going to drop off so he can lay his eggs someplace. And you dang sure don't want him laying his eggs in your house.
Well, now, let's talk a little bit about that, Bill, because the transference of the ticks to human beings, I mean, man, if you don't look your body all over and you can't see behind your neck and everything unless you stand in front of a mirror, how do people know if they may have been infected with a tick?
There's blood tests. There's blood tests that you can go to the doctors and get.
I see.
Lyme's disease is like I say, probably the biggie out here that we affect, and there is a good blood test for that. So that's not a problem. One of the things, though, Lyme's disease causes just achy joints, lameness, swollen joints, actually.
Right. What about
that sort of thing? And if you're one that goes outside a lot and you've had some ticks on you and you have those symptoms, I'd recommend you going to your doctor and getting a test, because there's drugs that we can put you on. Well, not me, but that they will put you on.
Absolutely.
We'll take care of this, okay?
Now, what about the summertime? And I was going to ask you about this too. Looking to the fall, what do people need to know? What do they need to do to kind of in preparatory fashion to make sure their animals are ready for the weather transition? Is there anything special in the summer they need to be aware of?
Well, it depends on the critter. Like, this is the time of year from now on, Zeb, is when we start seeing West Nile in horses, Nile disease, which is a mosquito-borne virus. And I would dang sure make sure your horse is vaccinated. And also, at least twice a year, 2 to 3 times a year, worm your horses.
Right.
And what you do is you worm them about 2 weeks after the good killing frost, so you can get rid of the bot flies. So the ones that lay their eggs on your horse's legs, you will kill all the bots before they get to the stomach that way. Cattle obviously need to be vaccinated when you're weaning them. Dogs and cats, just make sure that they got plenty of shelter, because it's supposed to be another hard winter this year.
Absolutely. One final thought here, Bill. I'm almost out of time, but, I was going to ask you about when you go up in the hills and everything with your dog, etc., what are the dangers, or what can you take as precautions in case your dog gets snake bit?
there's not a lot you can do, Zeb, but I'll tell you right now that dogs are not that susceptible to rattlesnake venom.
Oh.
And that would be what it would be. There's the occasional small dog that it would kill, but a large dog usually not. And so, as far as you doing anything, you just got to get it to a vet.
Okay. Well,
you can't. We've got anti-venom that we can get and give to them. It's quite spendy, but I have saved. Last year we had a dog that was defending two little girls and this big rattlesnake bit it. It was like a 6-footer.
Oh my!
Huge.
Oh my goodness sakes! You're talking about giving me the heebie-jeebies right there, Dr. Bill. Listen, I want to remind everybody: Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street in Hayburn, 678-1177. And it's really true, isn't it, Bill? You do have warm hearts for cold noses.
Absolutely. Every day, all day.
All right. Dr. Bill at Ark Animal Hospital. God bless you, man. Thanks for being on the program.
Okay, no problem, partner.
All right, take care. Really Bye-bye. Nice people over there at Ark Animal Hospital. Dr. Bill and the crew serving you. Whew, what a morning. It's been busy. And what we're going to do now is send this back over to the main studios with the lovely Gina Jameson, and then we'll be back in about 3 or 4 minutes. Don't you go away.
Good morning. It is now time for funeral announcements brought to you by Rasmussen Funeral Home, 1350 East 16th Street in Burley, a family serving families. Janet Ruth Field Dean, a 61-year-old Burley resident, passed away August 6th while at home. Funeral services will be held at 11 a.m. Friday at the Grace Community Church in Rupert. Services will conclude with graveside services in the Rupert Cemetery under the direction of Joel Heward Hansen Mortuary. There will be no public viewing. Dale Edward Leslie, an 83-year-old Paul resident, passed away Sunday, August 6th at his home. Funeral services will be held at 2 p.m. Saturday at Hansen Mortuary. Viewing for family and friends will be held from 6 until 8 p.m. Friday at the mortuary and for 1 hour prior to the service. Services will conclude with burial in the Paul Cemetery. Cheryl Baker, a 78-year-old Rupert resident, passed away Sunday, August 6th at Minidoka Memorial. Funeral services will be held at 10 a.m. Saturday at the Rupert LDS 4th Ward Building at 26 South 100 West. Viewing for family and friends will be held from 6 until 8 p.m. at the mortuary. Services will conclude with burial at the Rupert Cemetery under the direction of Joel Heward Hansen Mortuary. The funeral for Betty Martin War, an 84-year-old Oakley resident, will be held at 11 a.m. this morning at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Oakley Stake Center at 355 North Center Avenue in Oakley. Burial will follow in the Basin Cemetery. Friends may call from 10 until 10:45 this morning, preceding the service at the church. The funeral for John Edward Hedges, an 82-year-old Declo resident, will be held at 11 a.m. Saturday at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Declo Stake Center at 213 West Main in Declo. Bishop Dale Darrington will be officiating, and a visitation will take place at the church from 10 until 10:45, preceding the service. Burial will follow at the Declo Cemetery under the direction of Rasmussen Funeral Home. The funeral for Dale Wayne Plott, an 87-year-old resident of Twin Falls, will be held at 11 a.m. Saturday, August 12th at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Twin Falls West Stake Center at 667 Harrison Street in Twin. Entombment with military honors will follow the service at Sunset Memorial Park. Viewing for family and friends will be at the church, will be held from 6 until 8 p.m. Friday, and from 10 until 10:45 preceding the funeral service. Arrangements have been entrusted to the care of Rasmussen Funeral Home. The funeral for Howard Wilkins, a 95-year-old Paul resident, will be held at 11 a.m. Monday at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Paul Stake Center, located at 424 West Ellis Street in Paul. Bishop Dean Stevenson will be officiating, and burial will follow in the Paul Cemetery. Friends may call from 5 until 7 p.m. Sunday at Rasmussen Funeral Home in Burley, from 10 until 10:45 preceding the funeral service at the church. Arrangements for Virgil Wayne Decker, a 69-year-old Burley resident, are pending under the direction of Rasmussen Funeral Home. This concludes funeral announcements for today, brought to you by Rasmussen Funeral Home, 1350 East 16th Street in Burley, a family serving families.
I'm one of these guys who likes to plan. get it down on paper. Whatever it is. Family vacation, remodeling the kitchen, maintenance for my wife's car. Well, I was convinced I'd thought of just about everything until I heard about pre-planning your own final arrangements. Now, I'll admit, I was a little intimidated at first until I saw the sense in putting into writing my desire for funeral arrangements. And the folks at Rasmussen Funeral Home made it all wonderfully easy and natural. And, it's both thoughtful and loving to remove the burdens and guesswork from loved ones who may find the circumstances difficult enough. Now they'll know what I wanted, and they'll have more time for family and friends. The finances will all be settled, and best of all, I feel good about one last loving deed that I can extend to my precious family when I'm gone. Plan ahead. Call Rasmussen Funeral Home, a family serving families, at 678-2100, or stop by 1350 East 16th Street in Burley.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
And welcome back to our last half hour. Wow, a Thursday, August 10th. And I'm very honored to have a lady back on the program that's an attorney with the Pacific Legal Foundation. And we say good morning to Christina Martin. How are you, Christina?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show.
I got to tell you, we talked about this story, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and it just infuriates me to think that it's sad enough that when people fall behind on being able to pay their property taxes or whatever, and they might lose that property, but then it even makes me madder to think that whoever takes over the property is going to sell it, and they're going to pocket a whole bunch of profit possibly for the increased value of that property. And you've got a story in Michigan that kind of fits the bill right there. Why don't you take and give us a thumbnail sketch of what happened?
Well, what happened was Wayside Church is located in Chicago, and it owned a piece of property in western Michigan that in better days it had used as a youth camp. But after they fell on hard times, they could no longer pay the property taxes for that land. And so they fell behind on their 2011 property taxes. So in 2012, it was declared delinquent. And then 2 years later, the county took the property, sold it, and kept all of the profits from the sale. They owed about $16,750 in taxes, penalties, interest, and fees. And the county sold it for about $206,000. They making basically a $190,000 profit at the church's expense. And of course, under Michigan law, they kept all of that money and at great profit to the county. And this is happening to many people across the state of Michigan and in some other states.
Why in the world is this allowed? I mean, where is the law and the statutes that protect the property owner somewhat? I mean, to make that kind of a surplus of $189,000 or whatever it was over and above what was owed, that seems almost doubly criminal to me.
Absolutely. And I think some people say, well, they brought this on themselves because they didn't pay their taxes. But the reality is that lots of people go through hard times, and that includes churches. And in fact, one of our clients in this case also had fallen behind on his taxes for the same year because he had medical problems and was unexpectedly unable to pay his taxes or sell it before the government took it and profited at his expense. So, what's happening here is just unjust, and there are some court opinions that have recognized that no matter what the state law says, the Constitution protects your right to the surplus value of your property.
Well, yeah, and I have the Fifth Amendment right here, and I'm going to refer to the last sentence that says, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. I understand that, or earlier it says without due process of law. But when you take somebody's property for a non-payment of a tax bill, I can understand that we have to have rules and regulatory measures. But then you have the vultures that are involved in being attorneys and in law proceedings that I fear would just look for something like this to add to their own coffers. Am I wrong?
No, you're exactly right. A lot of local governments are profiting through this. in fact, in Michigan, Wayne County has notoriously used the extra money from these delinquent tax properties to balance its budget rather than actually making cuts where they're needed. And there are some other states, too, where they allow private investors to get this sort of profit from at the expense of struggling property owners. But you're exactly right. This is a takings clause violation, and we're asking the Supreme Court to take this case and recognize that this is a violation of the takings clause when they keep more than is owed.
Well, now, what about changing the law or some kind of reciprocity back to these people? I mean, that must be a horrendous feeling, like this Wayside Church. They not only lost the property, but then they sit back and they hear of someone making $189,000 or whatever, and sticking it in their pockets. Woo, that's going to kind of create a cold Christian attitude, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's very painful for people. One of our clients, Henderson Hodgins, he lost his inheritance because of this law and because of his combined medical issues. And it is very unjust. In fact, most states do recognize that the surplus proceeds should go to the person who loses their property for overdue taxes. And that's exactly what should happen in Michigan and elsewhere. They should change their law to recognize that unalienable right to your property. The government can take as much as it is owed, but it cannot take more.
You know, I'm just sitting here thinking, Christina, and I'm not insinuating that this is happening, but it could happen. I can see where you could, on behalf of certain counties in the state of Michigan, or somebody that wants to do some dastardly deeds and try to increase the coffers for that particular county, boy, they could come out and pull some punches that would create a lot of problems for certain individuals and help line the county money. Is that right?
Well, you are making a very astute point that when you have laws like this, there's an incentive for local government to not really do everything they should do to let people know that they're overdue on taxes.
Right.
And in fact, there's actually a lawsuit pending in Michigan that's challenging a county for violating due process rights because apparently these required notices are not making it to their final destination. And so many people, the lawsuit alleges that many people are not getting notice and that this is some sort of intentional scheme by local government. Whether it is or not, I think, is yet to be seen. But the underlying issue that this hurts government incentive to let people know that they owe taxes is absolutely correct. And, you know, under a good law, the local government wants people to pay taxes because it benefits the community, and they want to collect those taxes. Under this sort of law, however, the local government makes a 22% interest rate when people are overdue on taxes, and then if the home is foreclosed and attracts more than is owed, then they make even greater profits.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Christina, and pardon my naivete on this, but why can't there be, under the auspices of our Constitution and the Fifth Amendment, a uniform code, if you will, of acceptance law that has to be adhered to by every state?
Well, I think that, you know, there are some areas of the law where states sort of all get together and decide that they want the same sort of, say, contract law, that sort of thing, uniform code. I'm not a terribly big fan of uniform codes, generally speaking, because I like the idea that the founders had that the states should be sort of laboratories for democracy and should have an opportunity to take different approaches. However, this goes beyond the bounds of what the founders had in mind, because it's basically stealing from people for government benefit.
Well, you know, and what are you going to do? I mean, what does the Pacific Legal Foundation, an organization that I have the highest regard for, what are you trying to do, and what you hope is the final outcome?
Well, right now, we've petitioned the Supreme Court to take a look at this case. What happened was some local attorneys had started this lawsuit in federal court in Michigan, and that court dismissed it. It went on up to the Sixth Circuit, and the Sixth Circuit dismissed it because property rights cases are treated typically worse than other constitutional rights. And basically the Sixth Circuit said that you can't bring this claim in federal court. You have to go to state court. Now, any other federal constitutional claim you could bring in federal court, but because it's a takings claim, we won't hear it. And so Pacific Legal is representing Wayside Church and Anderson Hodgins and really just trying to get this law held accountable. We're trying to hold the state of Michigan accountable and the local counties for stealing from people. So we've asked the Supreme Court to take the case to recognize that federal courts do have jurisdiction, that Congress has required that federal courts hear cases like this, and that the takings clause protects every property owner's right to that surplus. The government cannot take more than it is owed in taxes, penalties, and fees.
Let me ask you one final thought here, Christina, and I am a real strong advocate of personal property rights. Would you agree or disagree that, let's say, within the last 15 years in the United States, there has been a diminishment or recognizing of what really personal private property rights are?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with where you are. But overall, I think that that property rights have been a very, I think they've been fairly difficult to protect since zoning laws really began. And I'm not trying to say that zoning laws are inherently anti-property right, but I will say that when you get zoning rights, you've got zoning laws. The government is often picking winners and losers, and they end up zoning people's property into, say, a park. You know, you can't do anything there.
Right.
And that has been a problem actually for a lot longer than the last decade or two. It goes back at least until to the 70s, I'd say, from what I've read. It seems to have been pretty tough for property owners since the 70s and 80s.
Well, I am very...
It got worse. But in recent years, I think there's been some decisions that give us reason to hope that property rights will be protected again. PLF won a case at the Supreme Court in 2013 that recognized for the first time that the takings clause protects money, for instance. And that's a really important thing, that government cannot use the permitting process as a means of extortion to get you to pay up extortionate money in order to get a permit to use your own land.
Absolutely.
So there are recent decisions that give us reason to hope, but it's definitely a fight that we're going to have to press pretty hard to have success in going forward.
Christina, if people want to follow this case or ask questions about any of the lawyers and how they may be able to help them with the Pacific Legal Foundation, how do they get in touch with you folks?
So pacificlegal.org, and there's a contact us button on there that people can go and submit information about any situations that they face. And they can also read about PLF cases at pacificlegal.org or blog.pacificlegal.org.
Christina Martinet, an excellent attorney with the Pacific Legal Foundation and a guest that I really enjoy having on the program. Very articulate. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care. Thank you. You imagine the people, they suffer enough. I mean, a lot of people hit hard times. They hit hard times. And trying to pay their property taxes, well, it doesn't happen. And then their property is taken over. And then you hear, like in the state of Michigan, they sell the property for almost $200,000 more and pocket the money and laugh all the way to the bank. That does not seem right at all. We're going to have a weather forecast here real quick, and then, my goodness, who knows? And the weather brought to you this hour by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. Oh, the delicious meats. I always brag about Don Scarrow and his excellent retail meat department over there. My goodness, they've got all the breakfast sausages and the bratwurst. I love bratwurst. Honestly, I could eat brats about 24/7, 365. I just really enjoy them. And they've got all the great bacons and the ribeyes and the prime ribs and everything. Oh, they are good. Don Scarrow and Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. And now here's Gina with the weather.
Well, weather for the rest of the day, it's still going to be smoky. We're still in that air quality alert. Otherwise, mostly sunny skies for today. On the breezy side, gusts as high is 25 miles an hour out of the northeast. High of 87, tonight low of 57. Tomorrow, areas of smoke, sunny skies. High of 90 with an overnight low of 57. It looks like we're going to be in the low 90s under sunny skies for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Right now we're at 70.
All right, Gina, and brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. And like I said, they are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Gina, I got to ask you a question if you're not tied up with something over there.
Sure.
Are you a drone fan?
Not particularly. I know that my son had one, one of those helicopter drone things, but no, not really.
I'm a little bit concerned, and let me voice my concerns, and you can tell me, oh, you're just a right-wing radical, but you can call me what you wish. But I am really concerned that there's not enough regulation or legislation about watching these drones and who has them and for what purpose. I was talking to a gentleman the other night, and he lives in a different area of the United States, and he said, I'm really concerned that if we show our political affiliation and espouse our political feelings, it'd be too easy to commit a crime of havoc against someone or some location with the drones and the multiplicity of how many there are in this country. And he brought up a really good point. What are your thoughts?
He does bring up a really good point. I know that they're as far as local entities are concerned, they're trying to come up with, some sort of rules and regulations for drones and their activity because they can cause havoc. As with wildfire season, there was some wildfires around the area, and people had drones up, and that could, they had to halt all of the planes until they could go and talk to the person with the drone. So, does there need to be more legislation? Absolutely. I'm kind of leery of the drones in all forms, even if they're in the hands of the government.
And let me stop you.
They can spy on you and you wouldn't even know.
Yeah, right there. There's the topic I wanted to get into for a quick minute. The intrusiveness of getting into our lives. Now, I'll tell you, this turned out to be a funny story. It was my neighbor. But I was out watering the horses here about a month and a half ago. And all of a sudden I heard this weird noise, and I looked about 4 feet over my head. 4 feet. And there's a drone. And then the drone left me and went over and hovered about 4 feet from over the top of where Deanne was standing. Now, when you don't know the circumstances, and I am very, very vocal about my political stances and everything, you've got to admit you understand my fear as to what was going on.
Absolutely. Luckily, it was just your neighbor, and he was probably poking some fun at you, right?
Yeah, right. Okay. We found out later.
Yes, but, if not knowing that, I would have been... I'm surprised you didn't shoot it out of the
Well, and that's the other part of the story. I did. And my neighbor that was watching on his screen running this drone, I guess he went, and an expletive when I let the shotgun go.
Well, he kind of deserved it.
Well, now, wait a minute. But 10 days after that happened, there was a great big article in the local rag, and it was talking about the do's and don'ts and what you can do and can't do, and they are protected. I'll use the term protected species. You can't do that. I think when they're intrusive, I don't know, they're protecting them, but I think, like I said a minute ago, the intrusiveness of coming down and hovering over somebody, who knows what dastardly deeds they might perform.
I don't understand why they would be like a quote-unquote a protected species, because here's this. Okay, bear with me. You are in my personal space.
Right.
On my personal land.
Right.
You were not invited here. Therefore, whatever thing that's flying above me, you're trespassing. You're going to be shot down. Sorry. Ask before you fly.
Well, Deanne, honestly, I'm not ashamed to admit it, it scared both of us because we had no idea. Mm-hmm. And we thought it had left, and all of a sudden it came around the corner of the barn, and it's just hovering there. You've been at my place, so you know the structure of what I'm talking about. It just hovered there looking at us, and I said to Deanna, I'm not ashamed to admit it, go get my shotgun. And she did, and around the corner she came, handed me the shotgun, and that's when all heck broke loose. And I'm not ashamed of what I've done. I'm not...
No, I wouldn't be. I find it humorous, but don't be ashamed about it, because honestly, you probably would have done exactly Well, you did do exactly what I would have done.
But there's a weird feeling, Gina, unless you've ever had it happen to you, where you look up and then this thing is going zzz over your head about 4 or 5 feet. Tell me that wouldn't bother you.
No, it would freak me out.
Yeah.
It would be more than bothersome. I probably, especially if it was in my personal space, while I am like in the center of my personal property. Yeah, then we've got an issue. So hopefully the neighbor took it well and understood and kind of, just kind of the reaction that you had.
Well, I can't use a lot of the verbiage that was discussed, but he said when he saw me pull that shotgun up and aim it at his drone, he thought, there goes $5,000.
Yeah, because those things aren't cheap. And so here's my question, and this would be to the people who have drones. Why would you be flying it on somebody else's personal property without notifying them and asking for permission first?
Yeah, really. And now there's a gun. I was going to tell you this quickly. I saw it on TV this morning. The drone problem over in Afghanistan and the Middle East is getting so bad, being used by ISIS and very hellacious groups that want to do harm and injury. They're attaching bombs to them and everything else. They've developed an electronic gun that beams a laser, and it can take out like 8 or 10 drones at a time.
Really?
Yeah. But the sinister aspect of having, like you said very eloquently, drones on your property hovering above your head, I don't care what the law says. They're going down.
Yeah, and I would do exactly what you did. Especially if I had no prior knowledge that it was my neighbor or whomever. Yeah. I don't care who it is. If you don't ask for permission first, I view that as trespassing. You are violating my personal property and my personal space, so therefore, I'm going to be shot down, man, unless you tell me otherwise.
And besides that, you increased my laundry bill $10. Hey, Gina, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, saying get where you're going this summer with the best of tires that they have for your pickup cars, SUVs, trailers, everything. They are the best. With all the different tread designs, all the different sizes, you're going to be exactly well fit with the best of tires for your driving safety. And don't forget brake service extraordinaire, highly trained technicians that really know brakes, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more. But the main reason I want you to stop in is because of the fantastic service. They really care. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Gina has been filling in all week for Wheels, and we honestly pray very hard that Wheels is going to get better and be back with us on Monday. But I want to say a huge, huge thank you to Gina Jameson, wearing more than just 1 or 2 or maybe 20 hats over at K-Bar and Cat Country. Thank you for a job superbly done. Thank you so much.
Anytime, I'm always here for you.
Well, I appreciate it. I hope you have a great weekend along with everybody else. Zeb at the Ranch, K-Bar, 1230 a.m., and streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com. Thank you. Monday is going to be a jam-packed program, and we're looking forward to having your listenership. Don't forget, the way things were are the way things ought to be. Be safe out there. Have a great weekend, and God bless.